one's for Texas.
This verdict today is for them. Everybody can raise their hand. This verdict is for them.
Guilty of murder, fired Dallas police officer Amber Guyger will spend time in prison for the shooting death of her neighbor Botham Jean. The question now is how long? Guyger's family sat in shock after the verdict was read today, consoling one another as they now prepare for the next round of testimony.
My life has not been the same. It's just been like a roller coaster. I cannot sleep. I cannot eat. It's just been the most terrible time for me.
Some testimony from Jean's mother today, emotional on the stand, as you'd well imagine, in the penalty phase of the trial, describing her life now, sharing memories of her son, all while wearing red, which was her son's favorite color, she says. It's been an emotional day, to say the least, on both sides. Cheers and relief for some in the courtroom, for others, tears and despair. Tonight, we are getting our first look at Amber Guyger's new mugshot, taken late this afternoon, just coming in. She will be spending this night in jail. We have team coverage tonight, beginning with CBS 11's J.D. Miles, live over at the Frank Crowley Courthouse. J.D.?
Doug, because Amber Guyger now is a convicted murderer, she can no longer qualify to remain free on bond and was escorted by deputies to the Dallas County Jail for booking about an hour ago. The jury will now decide how long she should remain behind bars, which could be the rest of her life. There were cheers outside the courtroom and gasps inside when Judge Tammy Kemp read the verdict.
We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Amber Guyger, guilty of murder as charged.
Amber Guyger faces 5 to 99 years in prison for murdering Botham Jean, who lived one floor above her at the Southside Flats apartment building. Her story that she was confused about which apartment she was in and mistook Jean for an intruder didn't fly with the jury, which will now consider her sentence. The punishment phase included prosecutors introducing Guyger's DPD records that include violations for adverse conduct. The jury also saw racially charged text messages from Guyger, including one while the former officer was working the MLK Day parade and was asked when it was over. She replied, quote, "When MLK is dead, ... oh wait." Earlier, Botham Jean's mother talked about her immigrant son from the Caribbean who worked as an accountant in Dallas.
My life has not been the same. It's just been like a roller coaster. I cannot sleep. I cannot eat. It's just been the most terrible time for me.
Jean devoted much of his life to music ministry. Video of the 26-year-old singing in church months before he died reminded his sister that she misses his voice and
that I want my brother back.
And as you can tell by that testimony, much of it's emotional. That's the sentencing phase. Of course, the guilt or innocence phase is all about the evidence. This when they can bring in family members to say things. Prosecutors are expected to rest tomorrow morning. At that time, defense will bring on some witnesses to testify on Amber Guyger's behalf and try to argue for a lighter sentence. They'll have closing arguments, and then this jury will go back behind closed doors and deliberate again to see if she'll spend 5 to 99 years in prison. Live in Dallas, J.D. Miles, CBS 11 News.
It is a wide latitude on the punishment. J.D., thank you very much. The reaction, as you'd imagine, from this verdict went from shock to celebration for Botham Jean's family. Steve Pickett continues our live team coverage from the courthouse, focusing on this family. Steve?
And it is this family that has been, for the past year, Doug, remaining adamant that they say this was no mistake, that this was murder, when this former officer decided to use deadly force in shooting Botham Jean. We have heard it over and over again. This, for example, is the captured image, the moment when Allison Jean, the mother of Botham Jean, was able to show any emotion after that jury rendered that verdict this afternoon. For the past year, the shooting was defined in two ways: a horrible mistake for an officer who felt she was facing a deadly threat, or the murder of a man in his own home when Officer Guyger decided to use that deadly force. Legal representatives for the Jean family today called this verdict justice and issued a call for the jury now to hand out what they call an adequate punishment.
We believe in the wisdom of this jury. That decision is in the hands of this jury. And so we believe that Botham's life mattered, and we want to see a sentence that reflects that.
And we just hope that the jury remembers that this is an individual that says she didn't make a mistake, she intended to kill, and we think that the sentence that they give her should reflect that.
We have not heard from Guyger's legal team or family members. This photo showing an emotional Guyger leaving the courtroom after that jury issued that murder verdict reading. I can tell you that this family today, the Botham Jean family and their legal representatives have said they have been consistent about this, that this, in their eyes, was always a murder case, and obviously pleased with the result. Reporting live, Steve Pickett, CBS 11 News.